Hello my friends, today I'm going back real quick to the MiniVerse Café Series 4. I only built one from this series and I thought that's a bit unfair. Well, now that I think about it, technically I made two, so this is going to be the third one. But more on that later. Based on all these items, it seems like we got the Tanghulu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So this kit comes with the resin, aka liquid sugar, so I'm guessing this is clear resin. Yep, sure is. You also get 4 skewers, a few kitten faces for decoration I'm guessing, a mix of fruit, we got strawberries, grapes, and I think those are cutie slices. I know the hole in them is for the skewers, but darn it, I really wish they were whole so I can use them for something else. But anyway, you also get a serving thingy, I guess you'd call this a holder, and then lastly a little table mat. Alright, so hear me out. This is very out there and I know it's not about making this miniature different as much as it is about creating something else entirely at this point, but seeing these covered in liquid sugar, I was thinking how much I'd like for them to be covered in chocolate, obviously. And then I was like, well, I can't just cover them in chocolate, but what if I can make a mini chocolate fountain with leftover MiniVerse and Mini Brands stuff? So we're pretty much gonna go through everything I have extra and try to figure how we can make this happen. And I think the first thing we should start with is a bowl, because those 3 layers of a chocolate fountain kind of look like an upside down bowl. I think one of these two should be good. I really wish I had smaller bowls in here so that we can pretty much make the whole thing out of the bowls, but that is totally fine because I think these two might work and I have another idea for the second part. Maybe something like this? No, that's too big. We need something smaller than this bowl. I was thinking maybe we could cut this bottom part and use this for the very top piece, but this might be too small, or at the very least it's not curved enough. You know what? I think this might actually work. Right now, I don't see anything else that might do the trick, so let's keep this one for now. This one can also work with the white one if we need to. Between the white one, or technically it's not that white, it's kind of like a greenish color. Between this and this clear one, I actually prefer the clear one, but we'll see. Wait a second, I just realized something. We need to attach these somehow, right? I mean, they're not gonna just float like that. So maybe we can make a hole through this bowl and then run like a skewer or something through this and through that, and then stick it with some hot glue or even some super glue, or honestly, even some clear resin might do. All right, wait a minute. I just realized something. I googled chocolate fountain real quick, and apparently between each layer, there's a constant flow of chocolate. It's kind of like a wall of chocolate. Technically, we don't need to do any holes through anything to hold them in the middle, because we need to find a way to attach something here, maybe like a plastic or something, and kind of like go around it, like a cylinder, you know what I mean? So that it looks like that constant flow of chocolate. After looking at pictures of chocolate fountains and talking about it so much, my mouth is literally watering. But anyway, I went looking and I found something that might work. I have this open bazooka container and look, it fits perfectly and it creates that nice wall. So I was thinking that maybe I can cut it and then kind of like put it on top of this. You know what I mean? So let's give that a try. You know the drill by now. You know what I'm gonna use. Well, that was a little bit more difficult than I anticipated. So let's see, this will be like this. I know, I'm sorry. I'll clean my hands in a little bit. And this will go over here like so. You know what? Let's clean up first and then we'll see how it looks. Right, I feel much better now. Let's remove this outer layer of plastic because I think that kind of gets in our way. All right, so something like this, which will go on top of this. Is it too high? I don't think so, right? We will keep this one for now. I do have another idea, so once we find the top piece and see everything else that we need, if this one doesn't fit nicely with everything, I'm just gonna use my other idea. But let me see real quick. How will it look with this one? Yeah, I don't know. I think I prefer the clear one. One day I'm gonna have to go live on YouTube because I would love to build one of these with you guys like in real time and ask you for suggestions and get a reply instantly. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna do that one day. Now we need something for the top layer. So I was thinking, what if we use one of these? We can definitely cut off the handle part and then just use this top part. Let's see real quick, how would it look? That's not too bad. We're just gonna have to figure out how is the chocolate going to flow on this one. You know what, we'll keep this for now, but I'll look some more, see if I can find something else. Okay, I think I got the perfect thing. And by the way, it's kind of ironic because it still has to do with ice cream, but we can take this little container and then put it like so. What do you guys think? I could do the other way around as well. I don't know. I think like this one works best. Plus I need this opening here so it fits nicely on the other one. Let me show you. See, this is what I mean. Let's do it from this angle so that we can better visualize it, I guess. Right? Kind of looks like a chocolate fountain. Wait a minute, I just realized something. I could actually just use this whole thing, right? I don't know, I'm wondering if it looks better like this. And I guess at the end of the day, if it ends up not looking better this way, you guys know a way to make this happen and you can make it the other way. I hope that something from that messed up sentence made sense to you. But yeah, I think I might just use this one. Now we need something on this bottom layer to go all the way down. Let's have a look and see what we can find. I am back to this container, trying to figure out some stuff. Yeah, it's too small. Okay, this might work. It's not as wide as I would like it to be, and I don't know necessarily if I like these ridges, but yeah, this could kind of work. The only thing I don't like is this part over here, the base. Or maybe that little foot will prove to be helpful. It just depends on what dish we use for the bottom part. So if I have a duplicate of this, then I can cut one and keep one like this and see which one works best. Okay, I have 2 more of these, so that's great. We're gonna use one and cut it, and then we're gonna keep one as is and see which one will look better. So let me grab my blade and get into some more cutting. Okay, here it is, 2 separate parts. So it should look something like this. So we have option 1, option 2, and let me go find the third option because I don't know, I'm not 100% sold on this. Well, I know this might be a little bit weird, but we're trying to be resourceful here. So I think this container might actually work. Sorry, buddy, I'm gonna have to find a new home for you. Okay, that is not too shabby. Or we can go like, no, that's too short. That's gonna be difficult to stick it in place. Let's move on and find the rest of the pieces and then we can see which one we can use. Because right now we have 3 options, so that's good. The more options you have, the better. We're going back to the bowls because I remember seeing one that might actually work. You see, this one over here might be perfect. So let's say we use this, it will be something like so. But that's definitely too tall. So this option is definitely off the table. This one, however, might just be the right size. Not too bad. It's still a little bit tall, I think. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the one. Good. Definitely gonna use this dish. So we can't just have this sitting on itself like so. We need kind of like a stand here. So let me see what I have. But before that, let me put this on this little table so we can visualize it better. So what if we use one of these MasterChef pedestals? That looks kind of good, right? What do you guys think? Or I'm wondering if we can find some sort of a plate to go here so that after we're done with everything, we can put some fruits and other things to dip in the chocolate. Okay, I think I found the one. Let's see. Yep, that's better because it's a little bit wider than the MasterChef pedestal. And honestly, we could even do this. We don't even need the MasterChef pedestal. We just need this little part. Let me just put everything together real quick so we can get a visual idea of how it looks. You know, just to see if there's any pieces we need to change and adjust. Okay, that's gonna be a little bit more difficult than I think. I feel like first of all, I need to get a little bit closer. Please don't fall. I don't want to have to use that blue putty. Just gonna make everything take a long time. And the final piece will go over here. So this is how it's gonna be. Of course, it doesn't look like much maybe right now, but imagine it being all with resin, chocolatey, and all that. So what do you guys think? Looking pretty good? I mean, considering it was made out of leftovers and scraps, I think it looks pretty darn good. So now that we settled on which pieces we're gonna use, it is time to glue stuff together and add resin and paint and all that. This is gonna take a while, so please bear with me. All right, so first things first, we're gonna glue the little foot to the first plate, and I'm going to use hot glue for this and for a couple other things. I'm not going to use resin because I need this to stick, and I cannot have resin that's uncured and risk everything just falling over. That was pretty easy and straightforward. Now it's time to glue the big bowl, or the bigger plate that's deeper, to this thing that now is technically a pedestal. So far so good. Now it's time to stick this part of the chocolate, which is technically like the waterfall part of the chocolate, and I'm still going to use hot glue for this part of the process. And now we're going to add the clear resin, which is technically the chocolate, to the bowl. Okay, now that it all settled, I'm just going to pop that little bubble over there, and then we're going to cure the resin as it is. And now that it's all nice and cured, it's time for the hardest part, which is painting. I'm going to use some acrylic paint, and I picked up this burnt sienna color. I think this looks the closest to the type of chocolate that I'm imagining. And I'm going to start with the edge part where the resin meets the bowl, because that's going to be the hardest part to get right. Well, I'm not going to pretend that this is perfect, but I think it's pretty darn good. And again, the whole point here was to just get a nice circle to have a sort of a boundary between the bowl and the actual chocolate. And now it's time to cover everything else in chocolate. It's all done. It's looking pretty good so far. We're gonna let it dry, and this will be a very pivotal moment in our project because I want to apply a clear coat of resin. However, I do not know if that will make things better or worse, and I'm actually second guessing myself. I'm thinking about maybe building the whole thing, painting the whole thing, and then deciding if I'm gonna add another coat of resin or just let it be as it is. Okay, so after a few minutes of just sitting around thinking about this, I made the decision to not put that clear coat of resin, even though if later I decide to do that, it's going to be a lot more difficult. At the very least, this way we're offering ourselves two options: to keep it as is or to add the resin. And with that being said, I used a little bit of resin to stick the next part to our little creation. So far so good. Now before we paint this part, let's work a little bit on this, because as you can see, this is not perfectly straight. So we're gonna use a file to kind of like level it up a little bit. And then also, if you can, I mean, not if you can, but if you look closely, this is not perfectly flushing with that because it's too thick. So I'm gonna try to remove just a little bit. And if that doesn't work, I can always just stick it to the whole thing and then just fill in this little part here with resin. So let's start working on that real quick. This is by no means perfect, but it is a lot better. And now it's time to do this inner part so that we can make it go as flush as possible with the other part. Alright, I did the best I could. Not sure if it's gonna make a huge difference, but we'll see. Actually, we'll see right now, because before I clean everything up, I really want to see how it looks. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. It's not perfect, but it is better. And then this piece will go over here. Something like that. Now, let me clean up real quick, and we're gonna come here and mess with this. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is stick these two pieces together, and we're going to use some resin for that. I'm just going to hold it because it's not perfectly flush. As you can see, it can move around. So I'm just going to hold it like this while I put a little bit of resin, and then we can go around and add the rest. Just need a tiny bit to hold it in place. Of course, my UV light is on the other side. I think I got it pretty nice and centered. I'm going to use some hot glue to secure it in place because it sticks better, and also on the inside it's not going to look lumpy. I don't think we need too much to make sure this doesn't go anywhere, but we're going to add a good amount just in case. Okay, so far it's looking good. Now it's time to position it on top of this and see what's the best way to make it, as even as possible. Or maybe first we should select the face of this little creation. So, you know how it is, everything kind of looks better from a certain angle. So maybe this way. So then this can go over here. And I actually really like the way it looks right now. So hopefully I can add some resin without moving it too much. And I think I'm going to go in the back parts. I moved it, didn't I? It looks pretty good overall. It's not perfectly straight, but it's, the best we can do. Maybe once everything gets covered in chocolate, it's going to look better. So now I'm going to add a little bit of resin at a time here and cure it so that I can fill those gaps and at the same time stick it to this. So far, I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. And now it's time for the final piece of the puzzle, the little top. I'm just gonna put it right here, put some hot glue on it, and that's pretty much it. So without further ado, I guess let's just go for it. Well, that was a little bit of a fail because I ran out of glue and yeah, it wasn't perfectly straight, but I had to put it on. So we're gonna just remove it and then try again. Good thing it's not resin because that would have been a lot more difficult. Let me just remove all the residue. All right, let me load up this bad boy and then take 2 will hopefully be more successful. Okay, so I think it is just a little bit crooked, but not too bad. Nothing we can't just, turn into a positive somehow. Maybe later we can make a frozen in time moment where all this just falls over. And I'm pretty sure you guys know what time it is now. It's time to paint and paint and paint until I cannot paint no more. And I'm going to try and do it a little bit strategic. I'm gonna start with the top part and try my best to get the types of strokes that are kind of like from up down. So even if there's that smudgy type of look, at least it looks as if it flows, you know what I mean? Like if it's chocolate flowing down. But yeah, let me get all this done and then dry it out. And then we'll see if we're gonna add some resin on top of it, like a nice clear coat of clear resin, or if we're just gonna leave it as is. Okay, so I already have thoughts about this. First of all, adding the color will not mask things, it will just bring things up. So if there's any imperfections, you will see them even more, which I didn't know that. It's very obvious that this is the best angle because if we go over here, well, actually, maybe not. No. Yep, that's definitely the best angle because over here you can see it that it's leaning a little bit and it's not perfectly centered. Also, I noticed that this should have been a little bit smaller than this part. It's quite big, and maybe if this little thing, the bazooka thing, would have gone a little bit inwards, that would have been better. So what I want to do right now is use a little bit of clear resin to fill in these gaps over there, over here, and then I will do another coat of paint and we'll see how it looks after that. Maybe, since it's not absolutely perfect, I might add that layer of resin just to see how it will look. Just to see how it will look. So yeah, a little bit of resin to fill in the cracks and imperfections, another coat of paint, and then we can see where we're gonna go from there. Well, do you want my honest opinion about how this turned out? Not that great, or at least not the way I imagined. I don't think I'm going to add that extra layer of resin. Maybe I'm going to do that in a short just to see how it turns out. I'm holding it like this because this is the best facing part. If you turn it around, it's gonna look worse and worse. Some parts are not that great. Some parts you can see it's obviously leaning. From this angle, it looks pretty good. What I wanna do now is add some things here on the bottom, like things you would dip in chocolate. If that makes sense. I'm going to maybe try to improve it, maybe try something else, try different things in a short or in a couple shorts moving forward. So if you have any ideas, if you have any tricks, any tips that I could turn this into a bigger success, please let me know in the comments. I do not mind at all ruining it for something that might turn out to be even better. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what kind of ideas you have. In the meantime, I'm going to put it over here and we're going to get some extra ingredients and start adding them to the bottom plate. So the very obvious thing is strawberries, right? And I think we're gonna start with one over there. I think I'm just gonna add stuff. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe with some Oreos this time. Let's go with some raspberries next. Maybe this one we can just put over here with some resin, but for now let's leave it like that. We're mainly trying to see what works and what doesn't work. I have here some mango and pineapple pieces from the Mini Brands MasterChef series. Now we can maybe try some strawberries. Maybe I'll just put them like this. It's okay the way it is. It just hit me that once I put the UV resin here, I can actually hold it in place and make it sit however I want it to. Now let's put some pineapple pieces on this other side. So I like the way this looks. I'm gonna remove them. I know, I just added them there and now I'm removing them. But I'm gonna do that so I can start fixing them in place with some resin. And I'm gonna do this over and over and over and over again until everything is stuck there. I kind of forgot how to talk in the meantime. I added some blackberries over here. Yeah, I'm so focused on doing this that it's kind of taking all my mental space right now in focus. I have a toothpick in my mouth, that's why I'm talking like that. I'm kind of running out of options. I don't know what else to add here, but since this is gonna kind of be the back, we're probably just gonna add the same things over and over again now. And the reason you don't see me add resin is because I'm kind of like dipping it. I have a little bit of resin here on the side, so I'm dipping them in resin. I find that it's a better method than adding it a little bit at a time with a toothpick over here. I mean, that can work in certain instances, but up next some mango, which I really like the way they look because you can actually say that they're mini cakes, like mini cubes, like mini cake cubes. Does that make sense? It's like you bake a sheet of cake and then you cut it into cubes and then you can dip it in chocolate. I think the next thing was some raspberries. And of course, a couple more Oreos. And if you're wondering who would dip Oreos in chocolate, that would be me. To be honest with you, I would dip a bar of chocolate in chocolate. Ooh, there we go. Did you guys see that? That was funny, but it kind of ruined our thing here. But yeah, as I was saying, I would dip chocolate in chocolate. So now let's cure all the resin. So now I'm basically going to add a couple of things here and there just to make it a little bit more full and, you know, making it look good. I was thinking about adding some marshmallows, but maybe it's gonna just fill it up too much and it's gonna be too crowded. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna add a couple here and there. Okay, I changed my mind again. I really don't like the marshmallow look, so in the garbage they go. Alright, so this is the final version. This is my attempt to make a chocolate fountain. And by the way, I just realized I could have at least used the cuties from the actual kit that we got, just to add some different fruit, different colors, different textures to this plate here. And I could have also used the leftover blueberries that I got from the berry danishes. But oh well, it is what it is. In the end, it didn't turn out too bad. It obviously could have been a lot better, but you learn and you do your best next time. At the very least, I know that if you guys want to try and make this, you probably learned some lessons and tips from watching me trying to make it. Now, what I usually tell you guys is to allow me a quick second to clean the set, and then we'll move on to the next one. However, the next one would have been the falafel sandwich, and I already used that idea for a short. So I highly recommend that you go and watch that short if you want to see a step-by-step of how I made this. There were some fails and there were some wins, but overall I feel like it turned out great. The only problem is that I forgot to add a sauce to this entire meal. Okay, spoiler alert, the hummus was supposed to be the sauce, but that didn't turn out the way I imagined. But anyway, we reached the end of this episode. I had a lot of fun trying something different and coming up with new ideas. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I just wanted to say thanks in advance for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And now, as usual, you guys stay golden and keep on shining until the next video. Bye bye.